Welcome and or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell and today I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite autumnal reads. So today I wanted to make a list for y'all that incorporated a bunch of books that have fall vibes. Books that aren't necessarily horror or thrillers or anything like that, but books that just make you feel cozy or make you feel like putting on a sweater and drinking some hot chai tea, books that maybe have some fall food descriptions or just feel like they take place in fall and they put you in the mood for fall. So I have a list here of, I believe 10 books, but I could be wrong, that I just think are the perfect books to put you into an autumnal mood. Before we get into this, I just want to first let you know that I'm going to have all of my social media linked down below for my Goodreads, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So you can click those links down below and follow me on any of those platforms if you so wish. I'd love to see you there. And if you haven't already subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe and click the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I post new videos. You can click the like button if you like this video and leave me a comment below and give me your recommendations for fall reads. I'd love to hear from you and try out some more books that I think will be perfect autumnal vibe type of reads. So let's just go ahead and get right into this. The first book on my list is actually a recent read, and I even said it after I read it, that I thought the Book of Gothel was the perfect book for fall. The food descriptions and the descriptions of the fall gardens in here especially, I think are just super autumnal. There's lots of descriptions of roasted meats and spiced wines and root vegetables and like a fall garden. A lot of the book centers around this magical apple, and I think that is so autumnal as well. Not to mention, this book mostly takes place in the forest and it is a fairy tale retelling. So for all of these reasons, I think this book is a wonderful autumnal read. Now, this is a village origin story, or you could even say a fairy tale retelling, because it is a retelling of Rapunzel, but it's more of an origin story of the childhood and adolescence of Dame Gothel, whose name in the book is Hailweiss, and she basically grows up with her mother and father, and she has these fainting spells, and they're trying to figure out why. Her mother practices folk magic while her father is a strict Catholic, and they live on the edge of the Black Forest in Germany. And soon into the book, her mother passes away, and this just follows her journey of trying to learn more about her mother and magic and trying to find a cure to her fainting spells. There's also a love story in here that is like an imperfect love story that I just found to be beautiful, but definitely that's something that a lot of people kind of disagree on. Some people liked it, some people didn't, but I really liked it. So that is just a general synopsis of this book. I totally recommend it if you like atmospheric reads. It is not a plot-driven read. It's not fast-paced. It's quite slow-paced. I absolutely loved it. Next, in a completely different vein, we have Caraball by Stephanie Garber. This book is about two sisters. One wants to go see this legendary carnival that takes place around like a competition, and they get a ticket. It's been a little bit since I've read this, but it basically turns into this competition, and our main character needs to find her sister. And it is like a fantasy romance that is a young adult book, but like an older young adult book. And this is the first book in the trilogy. I read the whole trilogy and really enjoyed it about two and a half years back. And the thing I remember most in this book is the magical feeling of the carnival, or of what's called Caraball, and the food descriptions in this book. This book is definitely more plot driven. It's fast paced, it's fun, and then there is also the romance in it as well, and I just had a lot of fun with this book. It's a really fun, fast read that will Won't take long, but it will put you into the fall mood with its vibes. I'm pretty sure it takes place in the fall too, right before winter comes, so late fall, and it's just super magical and a fun time. Next, I have one of my favorite all-time books that I really want to reread, but who knows if I can ever find the time. But that's Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. This book takes place in London below, and it is quirky and kooky and creepy and whimsical, and basically everything that you expect from Neil Gaiman. It takes place, I'm pretty sure, in October, so a lot of its vibes are already just October-esque because of that. And I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, it's not horror thriller, but it's definitely kind of spooky. It follows our main character, Richard, who finds a girl named Dor who is bleeding in the street. He helps her, ends up on an adventure in London below where there are monsters and angels and lots of scary, horrific things and people chasing them, and it's just a big adventure that is quirky, spooky, creepy, and weird. Definitely off kilter enough to really put you into the fall mood because it is kind of just creepy, but in a magical way. If you read Neil Gaiman, you know what I mean. This is a good one. Next, I have a book that is totally not for everyone, and that's Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I actually know a lot of people that hate this book, but I also know a lot of people that really like it. This is a fairy tale retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and this follows Agnieszka, who lives near these woods that are very dangerous. These woods are full of a malevolent power, but then there's the dragon, who is a wizard who protects them from it. This wizard comes and takes a new young woman every 10 years who spends 10 years with him, can't see her family during that time, and she is like his assistant or slave of some kind. Agnieszka thinks that it will be her closest friend who will be taken, but she and the rest of the village are highly mistaken because he chooses Agnieszka and she is whisked away with the dragon as his slave. And so this book is full of creepy magical forests and danger and magic, and it is a really beautiful story, I thought. I totally get why some people wouldn't like this book. The climax is like kind of long and drawn out, so it's not got a super classic plot structure, and also it's very slow going and it's atmosphere driven and character driven with not really a whole lot of plot, but I really enjoyed it. It is a book that I think is definitely for certain people. I think that if you like the Book of Gothel, you might like Uprooted, and so definitely recommend it if you like atmospheric character driven reads, and it definitely has those cool forest folk magic fall type of vibes. Next, we have one of my favorite books of all time, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book is yet another super atmospheric and character driven book that does not have much of a plot, but it follows this magical circus that appears and then just disappears out of thin air. And there are all sorts of whimsical, amazing features of this circus. It basically takes place around this competition between magicians, and it is also a love story within that, but more of a forbidden love story. This boy and this girl are raised by two different magicians to compete in this circus against each other, and then they end up falling in love, but only one can survive. So I just want to read a bit from this to give you like an idea of the beautiful writing and the autumnal vibes that it creates. The circus looks abandoned and empty, but you think perhaps you can smell caramel wafting through the evening breeze. beneath the crisp scent of the autumn leaves, a subtle sweetness at the edges of the cold. I just think that this book has some beautiful, beautiful writing in it that just hit you right into like the fall feels. Next we have Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I just read this book as well. This is almost like a dark fairy tale written by T. Kingfisher, and it is beautifully told. It's about Mara, who is the youngest of 3 daughters. She's a princess. Her oldest sister was sent off to be married to a prince in the neighboring kingdom, which is a much more powerful kingdom than theirs. And she is killed, and her second sister, the middle sister, is sent to marry him, and she finds out basically that this prince is abusing her and that her sister is basically trying to keep pregnant so that she can avoid the abuse. So trigger warnings there. But she basically goes off and finds a grave witch who then gives her these impossible tasks in order to agree to aid her. So it ends up being a group of unlikely characters all getting together to go on a quest to save her sister. There's a disgraced ex-knight, there's a fairy godmother, there's a grave witch, and there's a dog made out of bones, and then of course our Princess Mara. And I just thought it was really cool. I thought it was great. It starts out very slow, so just be ready for that. The first third is very slow, and then it does definitely pick up from there. But this book just felt very fall to me. It felt very cozy. Okay, so the last 4 books I have are not books I have physical copies of, so I'm just going to pop up their images up here. But the first book is Garlic and the Vampire by Brie Paulson. This is such a beautiful graphic novel. It is a middle grade graphic novel about Garlic, who has anxiety and who is sent to investigate a possible vampire who has moved in next door to her vegetable patch. Her and her other vegetable companions live in the vegetable patch of a witch, and just right there is everything. The color palette for this graphic novel is gorgeous and all like burnt oranges and like muted fall tones, and it's fall all around. And it's also a lovely story about Garlic overcoming her anxiety and becoming the brave bulb that she can be, and I loved it. I thought it was just super cute. Next I have the first in a series of cozy mysteries, and that is the first book is Curse the Day by Annabelle Chase. And this is about a girl who crashes her car and ends up being brought into this town where she discovers that she is a witch, and but she cannot leave because magical creatures cannot leave this town. So when she's brought in, her magic starts to take hold, and then she can't leave. And there are all kinds of different magical creatures. This book is Halloween Town for adults. That's how I've always described this. It is really, really cute. I have been recommending this book all over the place. I think Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte read it because I was gushing about it, and I know a few other people that have been reading it, and it is just fun. It's just fun. If you like cozy mysteries but you want one that makes you feel fall, or if you're a huge Halloween Town fan, definitely pick this one up because it's, Halloween Town for adults, and that's the best way to describe it. And there's even a little bit of romance involved as well. The 9th book on this list is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is the only V.E. Schwab that I've ever read, and it was definitely a very atmospheric read. I think a lot of it takes place in fall, but this is about Addie. And first it starts out in, I'm not sure if it's like the 17th century or the 18th century, I'm not sure, but hundreds of years ago, when she basically makes a deal with the devil to get out of having to get married. And so she is given an eternal life, but she can never be remembered. So the second she leaves someone's sight after talking to them or after them seeing her, she is forgotten. So this just follows her through basically how that decision has affected her life. And she cannot carry a normal job. She cannot rent an apartment because she can't sign a lease without then turning around and the company she signed a lease with, for example, has forgotten her, right? So she's just going through life alone, completely alone, until one day a boy remembers her. And so this is her story, and it's very atmospheric. And for a lot of people, you either love it or you hate it. I'm one of the few that I think I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it a lot. I think I actually even bought a copy for my mom. And it's just, I thought it was just a good time. And I specifically just wanted to mention it here too, because I did think that it was a very, very fall feeling read. Finally, I have another weird one that I know a lot of people don't like. I think this has a very low rating on Goodreads, but I thought it was really good. And that's Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. And this book is about Catherine House, and most of the most important and impressive people in society have gone to Catherine House. We're talking like presidents, big time bank CEOs, famous musicians, famous actors, but they cannot talk about what happens in Catherine House, and they don't talk about their experiences of being in Catherine House. And when you go to Catherine House for your 3 years, you cannot ever leave. You can't like call home or anything like that. You just go and you're there for 3 years, like not connecting with the outside world. And Catherine House may have previously been in trouble for doing some unethical things, and so we follow that. The atmosphere of the story is spooky and weird and creepy and a bit gothic as well. So for all of those reasons, I think the book would be a wonderful one to be reading in fall to get you into those spooky vibes without having to read like a horror or a thriller if you're not into that, because it is a little bit gothic, it's a little bit spooky, but it's not really like, it's not gonna make you like jump out of your seat or anything like that. It's definitely quite open-ended, and it's not a normal read, let's just put it that way. I just thought these were some great books to really get you into the fall mood. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you got some good recommendations out of it, because I love all of these books and I hope you do too. If you like this video, please click the like button and comment down below. Let me know if you've read any of the books I listed down below, or if you have any recommendations for books that I should try out that you think have great fall vibes. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button, and you can click the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I post new videos. I'll have all of my social media linked down below so that you can follow me on Goodreads, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.